5 is the time right now. Well, resident Clinton Desveaux has been comparing grocery store prices with a friend of his in the state of Maine. And what Clinton has discovered, I think, is going to get your attention here this morning. Clinton Desveaux joins me on the phone to tell us more about his price comparisons. Clinton, good morning to you.
Good morning, Rick. How are you doing today?
I am doing very well. Tell me how this whole thing started. You and a friend just decided to start comparing prices?
Well, what happened? So, with my job, my career that I have, I travel in and out of the United States and other parts of the world on a pretty regular basis. And when you're away, and you get tired of eating in restaurants and that kind of thing. And so sometimes what I would do is I would pop into a local grocery store and I would pick up a few odds and ends, and I would bring it with me back to the hotel where I'm staying overnight or for work. And as I started buying these things and I would do the exchange rates, I would look at it and I would go, this can't be right. I must be working this out incorrectly. So what I ended up doing was contacting a friend of mine in Maine, and then he put me in touch with some guys in the Quebec border along Vermont, and then some folks in Vancouver, close to Bellingham, which is in northern Washington. And what we discovered was, for example, in Canada, turkey sells for around $3.50 a pound, and that's in Canadian dollars. Turkey in the States is selling for 50 cents a pound in Canadian dollars, 39 cents a pound American.
Wow.
So that's about 51 cents Canadian. So then we started looking at chicken. And then what we discovered was that chicken is selling for roughly $6.50 a pound Canadian, at the local grocery stores in the city. And then we looked at northern New England, that sort of Maine, Vermont area.
Yep.
And then we found regular price chicken selling for $2.06 a pound in Canadian currency. So then we started looking at eggs. And then what we discovered was that you can buy 18 eggs for between 89 cents and $1.25. So if you're buying it on sale for 89 cents American, that's about $1.05 Canadian for 18 eggs. Meanwhile, the regular price point in Canada is about $4 a dozen.
Yeah.
Now, there are days where it goes on sale for $2.50, but that's still 2.5 times more than what our American friends and neighbors and family members and coworkers are paying for their food.
Boy, it's quite a difference, and you blame what you call the cartels, and I'm assuming you're referring to the marketing boards that keep control on prices for dairy, poultry, and such.
Well, that's right. So it's the proper name of it is supply management. So supply management was created in 1972, and this was before Canada had the big corporate agriculture, and it was designed to keep the local family farm alive. But this was long before essentially everyone was bought out by corporate Canada. And the part that I found most disturbing was that Canadian wheat, beef, barley, lettuce, and potato farmers, they compete not only nationally within Canada, but internationally for grocery shelf space. So why can't turkey, chicken, and egg farmers, why can't they do the same thing? And instead what we're facing is Canadian consumers are paying these inflated prices. And so we have breakfast school programs because in many cases, low-income and middle-income families, they can't afford to feed their children. We have soup kitchens that are having difficulty either buying food or collecting food because of the cost of food is so expensive in Canada. We're a first world nation, and we have and our seniors, they shouldn't be starving like a banana republic because of inflated food prices from a cartel that's backed by government.
But this cartel, as you call them, also makes sure that the people who are in the farming industry, which can be a harsh industry, a harsh job to be doing, that they make sufficient enough money to survive, Clinton.
Again, I go back to my original point. Canadian beef, barley, wheat, potato, and lettuce farmers, they don't have a special deal. they have found a way to compete internationally and nationally. They've invested in innovation and technology and efficiencies. There's no reason why these other industries can't do it. And so all this ties into the free trade agreement between Canada and the United States, because this past week, for the seventh time in the last 6 months, both the President of the United States as well as members of the House of Representatives and the Senate, both Democrat and Republican, have said they want Canadian supply management gone, or they're not going to sign a new free trade deal. And Canadian decision makers, they're increasingly coming to Max Bernier's view, and that's that liberals like John Manley, the former finance minister of Canada, Martha Hall Finley, the former Liberal leadership candidate, to conservatives like Brian Mulroney, they're all saying that it's time to phase out this program. And so more and more people are coming to the realization that it needs to be phased out over a 5 to 10 year period. And politicians who claim to support supply management, they're doing dairy, poultry, and egg farmers a massive disservice, because they know that supply management is going to come to an abrupt end.
But if we allow cheaper American goods to come in here, let's take a look at the milk prices, for example. Milk, as Will just tweeted, the price of milk in Nova Scotia the highest in all of Canada. If we abandon these marketing boards and allow cheaper American products to come in, cheaper American milk, for example, are we not putting our dairy farmers out of business?
No, I don't think so. I think some farmers will go out of business and others will find a way to survive, just like Canadian wheat, dairy, beef, barley, and lettuce farmers. I don't think that milk or chicken or turkey or egg farmers should be given a special deal. And, the way to get around this is to phase it out over a 5 to 10 year period. We give them compensation for their quota, and we know we need to do it because they're going to give it up in the NAFTA negotiations.
Well, we're not sure of that now. Those NAFTA negotiations continue, and I'm not sure that you can just say that we're going to give it up because we want a NAFTA deal.
Well, but Rick, there's a couple of things, right? So the first one is low-income and middle-income families can't afford to buy groceries at the grocery store anymore. And senior citizens can't afford to buy food because of, turkey is 7 times more expensive. Chicken is 3 and 4 times more expensive. Eggs are 2, 3, 4 times more expensive. At some point, the Canadian government looks at this and goes, there's 35 million Canadians. We're elected for the benefit of the country as a whole, not for a small cartel that's had a special deal for 3 or 4 decades. And furthermore, if you're the government of Canada and you're looking at this and you're going, are we really going to sacrifice the automotive industry or the steel and aluminum industry or a whole host of manufacturing jobs in Canada over a handful of egg farmers and turkey farmers and chicken farmers? I don't think so.
It's certainly food for thought, and I tell you what, if anything, you've opened some eyes, I believe, into the difference in the cost of living here in Canada compared to our neighbors to the south. It's very interesting statistics that you provided here this morning, Clinton, and again, clearly food for thought in regards to these marketing boards or cartels, as you referred to them. I appreciate. No, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, what I was going to say, you're right, but I want people to remember that if we really truly care about those kids in breakfast school programs whose parents can't afford to buy their kids healthy foods, if we really care about the senior citizens on fixed incomes who can't afford food and various middle and low income families, we have to get rid of this supply management cartel. In fact, when we traveled to these communities in northern Maine and northern Vermont, what we discovered was that the parking lots at these grocery stores were filled with Canadian license plates.
Yeah.
And if you sat in these parking lots and you just kind of watched the traffic walking in and out, what you noticed was all of these Canadian license plates was made up of two groups of people: senior citizens who were desperate to try to find cheaper food, and families with young children. So this cartel needs to end. We need to end supply management. Canadians deserve lower priced food options because we cannot afford the system that's in place now. And furthermore, we can't afford to jeopardize Canada's economy and throw out the free trade deal when our American neighbors keep saying to us repeatedly over the last year, if you get rid of supply management, we'll sign the free trade deal.
Well, I'm going to stop you there because I've got to take a commercial break here. But again, very interesting statistics and certainly something to consider as we look to watch these NAFTA talks continue. Thanks, Clinton. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you, Rick.
All the best, bud. Take care. Clinton Desveaux, 9:45 is our time here right now. We'll be back with more right after this.